Hello everyone.
Hey.
What are we doing? What are we doing a video on?
I don't know, it just felt like a good time and a good way of remembering the experiences that we just went through.
Mm-hmm.
More specifically, but not more significantly, mine as well as what I just did for your neck.
Yeah, but I've yesterday I had more of the same thing because we were basically obviously you're a massage therapist, but the thing that Aubrey was working on with me recently was in the stomach and
Mm-hmm.
in that area, the diaphragm, and it was very tight, and I just kind of thought, well, that's just how the muscle is in that area. And when she would push in, it would be quite kind of sore and didn't feel like it wanted to be touched. And then you kept on working with it and going deeper and pushing deeper. And it really felt like I did not want, like I was really resisting it.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite scary actually.
Well, you kept saying that it was painful. So, something that I do
Mm.
um, is to just kind of like invite a person to lean in a little bit more into whatever they're feeling, whatever sensation, whether it's physical or emotional or energetic or however they are identifying it. So Ronnie was saying there's just like a lot of pain, and I was like, can you go a little bit further into that pain? What does that pain feel like? And then you eventually got to saying that there was confusion. So he was feeling pain, and that's usually what happens in the body when we go through an experience like this, that it first starts off as a physical sensation, just like I was experiencing tonight and what you were experiencing. There's pain, there's discomfort. Um, and so what I did was I probably backed off a little bit so that you could feel into that a little more, because once you're in a point of like discomfort and then you can breathe into it some more and relax into it, the more pressure that can slowly come in and come in and come in. Um, but yeah, so you had confusion come up, and then what happened?
Um, I mean, to me, it was almost like I wasn't sensing that the feelings that were coming up were specifically from things I could point to in my current life, you know. And I don't know how much I believe in past lives or whatever, but I was imagining or visualizing or maybe remembering on some level um, experiences of pain. A lot of it was experiences of pain, like as if I was being held down and somehow tortured or hurt or something, or it was different thoughts like that, and and it was that thing of why me. That
Yeah,
was an
that
emotion that
question
kind of
did
came
come
up.
up.
Why me? Why is this happening to me? Like that pops up in a lot of past lives that I've experienced, and also something that's came up in a couple of past life things that have come up is like leaving my family at a young age or losing my family or whatever, and then being away somewhere else and never seeing them again. You know, because obviously back in the day you wouldn't have been able to just travel back and forth places as quickly at least. Um, and it was like living a life with this memory of these people that you've left behind, you know, whether it was your choice or not, you know, and that you never saw again. And the pain of that is something that came up
Hmm.
a bunch of times. Um,
It was interesting though, because like there would be times when you said something and I would just repeat it.
yeah.
Like a word for you, baby, triggered you deeper
Mm.
into it. And I would repeat like the why me, so we could, keep
I,
reiterating the thing that was like triggering you.
yeah, and one of the lives I went through the other night, or whatever it was, memory, visualization, whatever you want to call it, was like being, I would say, maybe a slave or maybe a worker. I don't know exactly. But what I was imagining was like a slave, maybe from Africa, whatever, being taken to some reason the West Indies I was imagining.
Yeah, no, you said the East Andes. Did you?
The West or East Indies, yeah. The Caribbean and maybe,
That's not the Caribbean.
yeah, the Caribbean. No, not India.
The West Andes.
No, not the West Andes. Indies. Like the Caribbean.
Okay, whatever.
West End.
Anyway, geography.
That's what you call something. You call
Okay.
them like a West End. Whatever.
Fair enough.
Because they thought they'd reached India, but they hadn't.
Okay.
So, experiencing that life and like,
Well, you were
Even
saying
though
like
I
you
was-
felt like you were on a ship.
yeah.
And
was
I
on a
had
ship.
already had an idea of like, what does water have to do with this? Like that kind of came to me.
Yeah,
and you
the
were like,
water came up.
and because
I
there was
on a
like,
ship.
there was almost this like swaying feeling of what was going on. And you're like, I'm on a ship. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was on a ship and like I had to deal with it and it was hard and everything. Then I don't know. Obviously it wasn't all that clear. And then being maybe at whether it was a plantation or a place I was working or whatever it was, but there was someone that saw something in me, or that treated me quite well, and so I had a better life. It wasn't like I had a slave life or a life of a worker. It seemed like I had a better life. And then the resolution of that life was that there was some woman and that I don't even know if I was in a relationship with, but she had children, and I found some resolution in the fact that I could look after and help her children, and that made me happy at the end of my life. And I felt that arc of like that's what helped heal from the pain of leaving behind my family from the past, you know, whether that was forced or not. So if it was like a kind of slave life, then it wasn't by the end of the life. At least I didn't see much of what that was all about. But I had another past life memory once before at a past life session where I'd left my sister, and my sister in that past life was an ex-girlfriend, and it was like I'd left her at a fairly young age, and we were close and all that. I'd left my sister and my family behind. I never saw them again. Went to another country, I think to America or something, and worked with horses or something like that. I was like a horse expert, and then I got like stabbed at the end of the life. Like I got like randomly stabbed. I think it wasn't that great then, but it made me think, you know. It made me think about that relationship, about why had there was it maybe a lack of trust there or something, or why did it not? You know, it was like, oh, that was the balancing out of that previous life or something. I don't know, but basically to get to the point, like you've taught me a lot about how the body stores, well, the muscles get tight and tense, and that in some situations that's also coupled together with emotion.
The majority of the
maybe
time it
held
is.
Or trap or memories all tied in together. It's all tied in, and that working in the stomach area, finding these tight spots, and then just. And even like now, from what you've shown me, like sometimes I just go around my neck and I just find these pain spots. And in the past, I would have just thought that's a sensitive area and you don't touch it. What I've learned is you actually should touch it.
It needs to be touched.
Yeah, it needs to be, you know, like it needs some attention. And so we go into different parts. We go into the stomach today. And
Yeah,
we
well,
find parts that are hard and tight, and then they start pulsating.
It's
they
interesting.
pulsate.
So let me
And this
interject here a
wasn't.
little
Just
bit.
want to say, it wasn't from me doing any rubbing. It's just holding pressure on it.
Yeah. So I am coming to the end of my 4th day of being on just juice, and so I am coming back to like being more aware of my body and being more in tune with it. And like I was feeling a lot of stagnant energy in my stomach. So you got back, he went to this workshop tonight, and he got back, and I was like, can you like press on my stomach a bit tonight? And so I initially like guided you to a specific place on the right side of my stomach, and we started like working and moving around in there. And once we found a spot that was painful, and this is something interesting for me to think about as a trained massage therapist, is that when I was in massage therapy school, and I haven't told you this, when we feel the pulse in the stomach, we were always told to stay away from it. But like all night, we were basically just like chasing around the feeling of a pulse.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was necessarily like an arterial pulse or if it was actually like just a therapeutic pulse, or maybe a little bit of both. But there was something that was just telling me like this is where he needs to be with his hands. And so like the experience of that, like you were saying that every time you felt the like spasming, what you called it, in my stomach happen as I started to have like this emotional reaction, and I would start crying, and then you could actually feel when everything would release. And that was when like
that was
the
amazing.
resolution of what the memory was happening in my head would have.
Yeah, well, it was like a little spasm or a pulse, and then just held onto it, and then it started like, but that's when Aubrey was crying, and it's like when people cry, it was, and the belly goes in and out sort of thing. That's what was. It's like that was part of the release, and it was good.
Yeah, but it was really interesting too that I was telling you like, so I was guiding him in every single place of where pretty much the entire time of where to go. There were a couple of times where you could feel around and you were actually
I could
like
feel it as well.
receptive to what the spot was that I needed. But the majority of the time I was telling him exactly where to go and exactly how much pressure I needed. Because when we get into these emotions, like that pain can be so intense that we just want to like stop the process. We don't want to get into it. We don't want to go any further because it hurts. So the most important thing in that moment is to know that like we don't want to stop the process, but the best thing we can do is just back off pressure a little bit and start breathing, get the body to relax again and get the breath moving some more, and put ourselves at like that edge of discomfort so that then it can start to go deeper. And once we get into that pain more and more, then the actual emotion can come out, whatever it is. There were even times when I was telling you where to direct your intention of energy, not just the way that your hand was positioned, because it's so important. Like every little area, every little pocket on the body that has energy, like it's not just a flat line. It's you know.
But you were crying a lot, like you were coming up.
There was a lot of tears shed, and I had earlier, like I said, he had gone to a workshop, and I had already started the process of lying on my yoga mat, turning all the lights off, turning on some soft music, and lighting candles, and starting to reel through different memories, and emotions were being purged. And like I had some really specific memories come up of a couple of different places from my childhood that I've had mixed emotions about. And coming into more of like a realization that I am having these mixed emotions about these memories because they are good and bad at the same time. And that can be like a really confusing way to remember something, but it's also very real. So there was just so much that was coming up. Like specifically, I'll just mention, like I remember like one of the memories was me riding this toy tractor around in my grandparents' basement, and then another memory was me being in my aunt and uncle's basement and seeing like the couch that was my parents at our very first house, like that I grew up with. And just it doesn't matter what these memories are, like for anyone. Like it could be something that seems so trivial, you know, like me riding around on a tractor. Like why would that trigger emotion? But it did. So I think that that's something that I'm looking to share in this video, is that like when we're going through a healing experience and we're looking to release whatever it is that we've been holding on to that we don't really realize that we're holding on to, is that we have to separate our expectation and judgment from the actual sensation and emotion and memory that will occur, because our body doesn't care what we think about the experience that we're storing. It just wants it to be seen so that it doesn't have to hold on to it anymore. And something interesting that I also heard Dr. Moore say earlier tonight, I watched a little video, is that the body like literally repels negativity. So once you start cleansing the body, it's gonna start trying to expel everything that is negative within it, because it doesn't want that in there. It doesn't help it perform to like its fullest potential and its fullest health and well-being state. So
I've only got a minute left.
yeah, but anyway, so that was
great.
Yeah, so that's a
So
little.
what advice would you give to people that are looking for this experience? Can you do it from
Find
yourself?
someone that you trust. I don't care who it is, but if you find someone that you trust, then any kind of healing can take place in that space.
Having the intention.
Yeah, intention and trust,
Mm.
especially intention that both people are on the same page. So yeah, that's
Awesome.
it for today.
Thanks for the lesson, Aubrey.
Yeah. Bye guys.